Hello, my amazing English learners. Welcome back to English with Ease. I'm Megan, your English teacher, and I have something incredible to share with you today. Picture this. You're watching your favorite English movie without subtitles, understanding every word perfectly. You're reading English articles online, following every detail. You even understand complex conversations between native speakers. But then, someone asks you a simple question like, "What did you do last weekend?" And suddenly, your mind goes completely blank. Sound familiar? Here's what might shock you. 90% of English learners face this exact same struggle. They can understand almost everything they hear and read, but when it comes to speaking, they freeze up completely. You are definitely not alone in this. But here's the thing that will surprise you even more. Your brain processes incoming English in just 0.3 seconds when you're listening or reading. However, when you need to speak, your brain requires 1.2 seconds to organize thoughts, find words, and form sentences. That's 4 times longer. No wonder speaking feels so much harder. You are not broken. You are not behind. Your brain is simply working overtime. And today, I'm going to show you exactly why this happens and how to fix it permanently. What if I told you there's a way to bridge this gap between understanding and speaking? What if you could respond as naturally as you think? Today, I will reveal the exact system that has helped thousands of my students transform from silent observers to confident speakers in record time. This is not about memorizing more vocabulary. This is not about studying grammar rules for hours. This is about training your brain to connect understanding with speaking automatically. To everyone who feels frustrated with their English progress, I see your struggle. I understand your pain. You are closer to breakthrough than you realize. The solution is right here. And it starts with understanding what's really happening in your brain. Are you ready to discover why your speaking freezes and how to unlock your natural fluency? Let's dive in together. Now, let me ask you something. Raise your hand if this describes you perfectly. You can watch English YouTube videos without any problems. You understand podcasts. You follow English conversations at work. You even dream in English sometimes. But the moment someone expects you to respond, your confidence disappears completely. This is what I call the listener trap. Your brain has become incredibly good at receiving English, but it hasn't learned how to send it back out smoothly. Let me tell you about Sarah from Germany. She works in marketing and reads English reports all day long. 0 problems. She understands every meeting, every presentation, every email. But when her boss asks her to share her opinion during a team meeting, she stumbles over the simplest words. Her colleagues think she doesn't understand the topic, but that's completely wrong. Sarah understands everything perfectly. She just can't express her thoughts quickly enough. Or consider Ahmed from Egypt. He loves watching American TV shows and never needs subtitles anymore. He follows every joke, every plot twist, every character development. But when he tries to tell his friends about the show in English, he switches back to Arabic after 2 sentences. Why does this happen? Here's exactly what occurs in your brain during these moments. When you understand English, your brain works like a detective. It pieces together meaning from context, body language, tone of voice, and familiar patterns. You're not building sentences, you're solving puzzles. It's actually quite relaxing for your brain. But speaking is completely different. When you speak, your brain becomes an architect. It must design the sentence structure, select precise words, arrange them in correct order, and coordinate your mouth muscles to produce clear sounds. All of this happens simultaneously, in real time, while the person in front of you waits for your response. No wonder it feels overwhelming. Your brain switches from detective mode to architect mode instantly, and most people never train for this transition. Native speakers don't experience this switch because they learned both skills together as children. Their understanding and speaking developed simultaneously, creating smooth pathways between input and output. But here's the encouraging news. You can create these same pathways at any age. You can train your brain to move from understanding to speaking without that uncomfortable pause. The secret lies in what I call active processing. Instead of being a passive receiver of English, you need to become an active participant, even when you're just listening. Most learners make a crucial mistake. They spend hours consuming English content, thinking this will automatically improve their speaking. They watch movies, listen to podcasts, read articles, believing that more input equals better output. This is like thinking that watching cooking shows will make you a great chef without ever touching a pan. Understanding and speaking use different neural pathways in your brain. If you only exercise the understanding pathway, the speaking pathway remains weak and underdeveloped. Think of it this way. Your brain has two separate muscle groups for English. The understanding muscle gets stronger every time you listen or read, but the speaking muscle only grows when you actually use your voice and form words. Here's what happens when these muscles are unbalanced. Your understanding muscle becomes incredibly strong, almost superhuman. You can process complex English effortlessly. Meanwhile, your speaking muscle remains weak and underdeveloped. When you finally try to speak, it's like asking a bodybuilder to perform ballet. The strength is there, but the coordination and grace are missing. This explains why you might understand a 2-hour English movie perfectly, but struggle to summarize it in 5 sentences. Your detective brain absorbed all the information beautifully, but your architect brain hasn't learned how to construct clear explanations. The good news is that once you understand this difference, you can start training both muscles equally. You can develop coordination between your understanding and speaking abilities. But before we jump into solutions, I want you to recognize something important about your current level. The fact that you understand English so well is actually a massive advantage. You have already completed the hardest part of language learning. You have trained your ear, expanded your vocabulary, and developed intuitive grammar sense. Many beginners struggle because they can't understand input clearly. You've moved far beyond that stage. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from an advanced position. Your brain already knows English. It just needs to learn how to access that knowledge quickly during conversations. This is a much smaller gap to bridge than you might think. Think about this for a moment. When you hear your native language, you don't translate words in your head. You don't stop to analyze grammar. You simply understand and respond. The words flow from your thoughts to your mouth without conscious effort. This is exactly what we need to create in English. We need to build what I call direct pathways between your thoughts and your English voice. Let me share with you the exact method I developed after working with over 5,000 students who faced this same challenge. I call it the bridge system, and each letter represents a crucial step in connecting your understanding to your speaking. B stands for build speaking habits daily. Most people wait until they feel ready to speak. They think they need more vocabulary or better grammar first. This is backwards thinking. You become ready by speaking, not by preparing to speak. Here's what you're going to do starting today. Every single day, you will speak English for at least 10 minutes, even if you're completely alone. Talk about anything. Describe what you see around you. Explain what you did yesterday. Share your opinion about the weather. But here's the key part that changes everything. Don't think in your native language first. Start directly with English thoughts, even if they're simple or imperfect. Instead of thinking, yesterday I went to the store, in your language, and then translating. Force your brain to think, yesterday I go, store, directly in English. Yes, it will sound broken at first. That's perfectly normal. You're building new neural pathways, and they start small and simple before becoming smooth highways. R means repeat everything you hear. This is where most learners miss a golden opportunity. When you watch English videos or listen to conversations, your brain receives the information and files it away, but it never practices sending that same information back out. Change this immediately. After every English sentence you hear, repeat it out loud, not just in your head, but with your actual voice. When you watch a movie, pause every few minutes and repeat the last sentence the character said. When you listen to a podcast, echo the speaker's words. This trains your mouth muscles and your brain simultaneously. You're literally copying the pathway from understanding to speaking over and over again until it becomes automatic. I means imitate native patterns. Native speakers use specific rhythm, stress, and melody when they talk. These patterns are like a secret code that makes English flow naturally. When you only focus on individual words, you miss this crucial element. Choose one English speaker whose voice you enjoy. This could be a YouTuber, a podcaster, or even a character from a TV show. Listen to them carefully and notice not just what they say, but how they say it. Where do they pause? Which words do they emphasize? What's their rhythm like? Then practice copying their patterns exactly. Don't worry about the meaning at first. Focus on matching their musical flow. This technique, called shadowing, trains your mouth to move in native-like patterns. D stands for develop your inner voice. Right now, when you think to yourself throughout the day, what language do you use? Probably your native language, right? This is exactly why speaking English feels so difficult. Your internal thoughts happen in one language, but you're trying to express them in another. We need to gradually shift your inner voice to English. Start small. When you wake up, think, "Good morning," instead of your native greeting. When you feel hungry, think, "I'm hungry," instead of translating from your first language. Throughout your day, narrate simple actions in English. Now, I'm making coffee. The water is boiling. I need to add sugar. Keep these thoughts simple and direct. Don't worry about perfect grammar. Focus on thinking directly in English. G means generate stories from your life. Here's something fascinating. You can understand complex English stories, but you probably struggle to tell your own stories in English. This happens because understanding requires recognition, while storytelling requires creation. Every day, practice telling one simple story from your life in English. It could be what you ate for breakfast, a conversation you had with a friend, or something funny that happened to you. Start with just 2 minutes and gradually increase the length. The magic happens when you tell the same story multiple times over several days. The first time, you'll struggle and pause frequently. The second time, the words will come more easily. By the 5th time, you'll tell it smoothly and confidently. This repetition builds the neural pathways between your memories and your English expression. You're teaching your brain that it can access your life experiences directly through English without translation. E stands for embrace real conversations. All the practice in the world means nothing if you never use English with real people. I understand this feels scary, but it's the final bridge between understanding and fluent speaking. Start with low-pressure situations. Comment on English YouTube videos. Join English learning groups online. Talk to yourself in English while walking or driving. Each interaction builds your confidence, improves to your brain that you can communicate successfully. Remember, native speakers don't expect perfection from language learners. They expect communication. If they understand your message, you have succeeded, regardless of small grammar mistakes. Here's something that will change your perspective completely. Every native speaker you admire went through years of making mistakes before becoming fluent. They said, "I goed," instead of "I went." They confused he and she. They mispronounced thousands of words. The difference is, they never stopped trying. They never let fear of mistakes prevent them from speaking. This fearless practice is exactly what transformed their understanding into natural speaking ability. You already have the understanding foundation that took them years to build. Now, you just need to add the speaking practice they got naturally as children. Your journey from understanding to speaking doesn't have to take years. With focused daily practice using the bridge method, most of my students notice significant improvement within just 2 weeks. The key is consistency, not intensity. 15 minutes of daily speaking practice beats 3 hours of weekend practice every single time. My wonderful English learners, you now understand exactly why your brain can process English perfectly, but struggles to produce it fluently. The gap between understanding and speaking isn't a flaw in your learning. It's simply 2 different skills that need separate training. Remember Sarah from Germany and Ahmed from Egypt. They felt exactly like you do right now. But once they started using the bridge method, everything changed. Sarah now leads those team meetings with confidence. Ahmed tells amazing stories about his favorite shows in perfect English. Your understanding level proves that you're already an advanced English learner. You're not starting over. You're just connecting the final pieces of the puzzle. Starting today, use the bridge system. Build speaking habits daily. Repeat everything you hear. Imitate native patterns. Develop your inner English voice. Generate stories from your life. And embrace real conversations. The transformation from silent observer to confident speaker is closer than you think. Your brain is ready. Your knowledge is ready. Now it's time to unlock your voice. I believe in you completely. You have everything you need to succeed. Your English speaking breakthrough starts right now. Thank you for joining me today on English with Ease. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and keep speaking. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep making your English journey amazing.